This comic is amazing! Hey, Nachi here, and welcome to Nachi Comic Reviews, where I'll be reviewing webcomics submitted to me. But if you did click on this video and not interested in the review portion of this for whatever reason, I will be giving some of my own tips and tricks for some of the art mistakes I see later on. Spoiler, it's background related, so keep watching to see that. To the comic! Spirit of War. Before we start, I'd like to make a quick disclaimer. I'm not a professional in any way. I'm just a nerdy person who loves comics, animation, and anything in between, so don't take this too seriously, okay? If it don't apply, let it fly, as the phrase goes. Alrighty, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Intro done! Woo! Alrighty then. Let's go over some basic things. This is a fantasy webtoon on Webtoon Canvas by Mistress of Time. Love the name, by the way. Updating bi-weekly. Description is... dramatic voice on. Casper is a man with many secrets. Some he can't even remember. When a sorceress from his past appears seeking help, things start to unravel. This Victorian world is drenched in war, and he may be able to bring an end to the bloodshed, but at what cost for him? So, to the meat of the story. This takes place in... okay, this is going to be a running theme. Gian? Something. We're going to go with Gian. In the capital of Destin. We wake up with some old guy, Casper. As he wakes up, he's annoyed at the world. Which, yes, same. But this is mostly because of his deteriorating memory, which is causing him to forget where he leaves things, like his shoes. He yells over to Miss Bella, who checks up on him every day. She's making him breakfast and reminds him where his shoes are, which apparently are on his pillow. Anyone else puts their shoes on their pillow? Because I definitely wouldn't. You get the pillow all dirty, then have to sleep next to them. And I'm not a very still sleeper, so I would wake myself up by bumping into them all the time. But anyways, back to the story. After breakfast, he goes out to touch some grass, which he immediately hates. Same! He hates the air, the city, just everything. By the way, did I mention this dude's a politician? Great, right? This guy sounds like a ray of sunshine. As he gets to the grand house, he passes by some protesters in the street about some war and down with the assembly! He is joined by his friend? Co-worker? I don't know. Another politician. Beatrice? We'll go with Beatrice. Sounds like Tetris. Once inside, they're talking about normal government-y things. Like roads and stuff. Which is more than mine does. My car can tell you about the potholes. But anyways, it seems like our happy grandpa doesn't like this and speaks up about the protests and to do something about it. Which the rest of the table of grandpas are confused, saying that they already spoke about it yesterday, and they decided what to do. Nothing! Amazing government here. Take notes, everyone. It's just amazing. But Casper gets embarrassed, as his memory problems are getting worse, but before anyone questions it, boom! Crash! Glass! Other sounds! Hooded lady crashes in, demanding to be heard, saying that she's a part of the rebellion against them, demanding them to change their ways, stop selling weapons, and that they're old. During the usual threats, Casper realizes he recognizes her, and seems like she did too. She leaves as dramatically as she went in, through the window. And feathers? The grandpa she threatens, Tetris, immediately demands for her unaliving, and calls her a sorceress. Ooh, magic, fun. After Casper is outside, thinking as much as this dude is a butthole, he doesn't want him unalived for whatever reason. The lady appears again and starts up casual conversation. Huh. Okay. Once she realizes our grandpa is terrified and has no memory of really anything at this point, she drags him into an alley, which isn't suspicious at all. This isn't suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Okay. And teleports them into a bell tower? Once settled, she goes off into a story of a boy who went through very traumatic events. You know, the usual. Dead family. She explains that she likes his trauma-ridden child and did the thing everyone does in this situation and takes him home. But the kid's really smart and wants to change the world at the ripe old age of 12. But, of course, due to his age, he couldn't. But didn't take no for an answer. So, with her help, they were able to change him into a grown-up to the ripe old age of 60. Really went from 0 to 100. Or in this case, 60. After he moved into the city to be a part of the corrupted government. They grow up so fast. She alludes that this boy is here with them. I have no idea who that could be. Nope. But with Casper losing his memory, she decides to reverse the spell on him, which leads to... What? You thought I was going to spoil it even more? Nah, this comic is great. It needs more eyes on it. So, yeah, go do that. Card above. Go on. You can do it. Press the button. Of course, after you watch this video. Reviews section. So, we'll be doing this in 2 parts. The story, and then the art. Which I will then go over that tutorial I mentioned earlier. Spoiler, there isn't much, so I really needed to look hard for these. The story. Honestly, the story is really good, and it's just starting up. So I'm really interested in seeing where it's going to be going from now on, and why the title is called Spirit of War instead of something like Casper's Second Chance or something. I don't know, I'm terrible at naming things. But there's a small thing that I can see that could be better. One being that there's sometimes a problem of reiterating the... Okay. One being that sometimes there is a problem of reiterating points that we already know as the audience. For example, when we first meet Casper, he wakes up and immediately asks Miss Pella, his helper, where his shoes are. He gets frustrated that his forgetfulness is causing him to even need to ask in the first place, but he redirects it at her by being a little rude. But after calming down, he then apologizes shortly after. But even though we can see all this happening, Casper still has an inner monologue explaining everything that just happened. There's a couple instances of this kind of thing happening, like you need to explain something after you just showed it. You can still have them have an inner monologue, but instead of, every bloody day my memory seems to get worse, I find myself furious. At myself, at everyone, including Miss Pella, who deserves better. She's the best help I've ever had. But instead of just saying that he's frustrated at everything, since we can already see it on his face, we don't necessarily need all that extra text there talking about how frustrated he is, since we can already tell. Have him say something along the lines of, oh, my blasted memory, or something else Britishified like that. Then go into, oh, but I shouldn't talk to Miss Pella like that, or some other thing, to tell us that he's feeling guilty about it. This doesn't happen as much in recent chapters, and it's also not really that big of a deal either. But it is still around, so I thought to mention it. So, to the art. The art is amazing, and it's constantly getting better and better. Just look at it! Look at this progress! God dang! The character designs are great. They're all different, but not to the point where they don't look like they live in the same world, you know? Some of them are a little bit on the nose, like this character. Can you tell what she does? Oh, wait. Did you guess time stuff? Then you'd be correct. But this isn't really a bad thing whatsoever. It gets the point across very well. Also, quick side note, there is sometimes this little chippy old Casper that shows up, and I love him. Just look at his little nose! Well, big one, but still, look at him! Can you tell I love this art style? As much as the art style has changed, one thing that really hasn't is the indoor backgrounds. I've noticed that some of the rooms seem unusually really barren, which would make sense if a character just moved into a place, but not so much if someone has been living there for a while, like most of the characters in this case are. I personally hate drawing backgrounds, and I've been guilty of this myself. Just look at my comic. But I've been trying to get better at backgrounds. By the way, my comic is called Getting Heir. It's on Webtoon and Canvas. You can find the link below this video or in the card above. Which, while you're at it, if you like this video or like to see any of my other videos, which are coming on the way, it would really help me if you like and subscribe. I know, shameless plug is shameless. So, I'm going to share what I've learned with you guys. So, here we go. How about we get to the first tip here? 1, we need to know the aesthetic and personality we want to show through this room. So we need to figure those things out. We can go on websites like Pinterest or even just Google to get a visual of what kind of general look we want to go for. Then we can make a list of character interests and personality traits to make this more personal. For this, I'm going to go with one of my own characters, Angelo. So, Angelo is a mafia boss from the 80s/90s. He wears a lot of red, blacks, and grays, wears more fancy things like suits and a big old coat. He tries to give off the impression that he has his life together, even though he most likely has little idea what he's doing. And he likes really classic cars. Now for the personality trait list I'm going for is charismatic, impulsive, manipulative, determined, adaptable, and insecure. So now to the drawing part. Now that we have all of our basics, we can now make it more detailed and add more things to make it feel more homey. Since Angelo wants to make it look like he has everything under control, maybe he has a clean room. But if you take a closer look, you'd see that he has trash and books thrown around. Then when it comes to any other furniture, since he is a bit of a richer man, like he would have more fancier, older furniture. I feel like he would have a little miniature version of his car in the room. Right there on his desk. And there we go, we have a room. You can make this more or less detailed depending on how you want it to look. But since I'm doing this more for a video versus my actual comic, it's just going to be a quick sketch here. But now since you do know what you want your room to look like, Any other objects or anything like that you notice you're drawing a lot of, you could always make custom brushes to make drawing those things a bit easier. I personally use custom brushes more so for my tattoo designs that I have on a lot of my characters, just because I love the tattoos that I designed. It's just they're very complicated to have to replicate every 5 seconds. Makes it a lot easier for me. For my final thoughts, I love this comic so much. While making this review, I saw that there was a lot of episodes to get through, so I thought I would at least get through half of them, but then I blinked and I read all of them. So, yeah. Anyways, other than the small things I mentioned about backgrounds or spoon feeding, things like that, there are only very minor things wrong with this comic, and most of them are just weird phrasing or spelling mistakes, things like that. But it wasn't to the point where I couldn't understand what they meant to say. This comic has amazing art and story so far. I love all of the characters and their relationships. I love Casper and Liana's relationship later on. They're so freaking cute, and plus I can relate with the chaperone bit. But the drama, chef's kiss. So I would very much recommend this comic to anyone who likes fantasy with magic and drama, because that is this comic and so much more. By the way, who's your favorite character when you read this comic? Not if, when. If anyone's watched till this part of the video, hi. I really enjoyed making this video and reading this comic, like I've said a billion times at this point. And if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if, again, you could like and subscribe, because I'm planning on making more videos like this and more soon. So while you're waiting for those to be finished, how about you check my shorts? No, not my literal shorts. My YouTube shorts, filled with Marvel and DC comic book characters doing fun little things.